from Oldham, it's the Horn and Hoof Records podcast video chat show with your host, Danny Barrett. Hello everybody and welcome to the Horn and Hoof Records video podcast chat show, Hello and Hoof, with your host, Danny Barrett from the Crash Mats. It's me, Danny Barrett from the Crash Mats. We've got a very special one this week. We're going to do an MPF special. We're going to do a little preview show for MPF. I've got Andy and Bighands here from the team behind MPF and TNS Records with me. So we're going to have a wee chat with them. So hello boys, hello and Hoof, welcome to the shed.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the shed,
Bighands.
Bighands.
To stay on Hoof.
Sorry.
Already.
Go on, do it again. You can edit that.
Right, Bighands, you're going to do some colouring in for us, love. What do you want? Do you want pencil crayons, or felt tips, or highlighters? No one's chosen highlighters yet.
Give us a highlighter.
Do you want highlighters? Got a big bag of highlighters there, mate, so crack on. Off you pop. Andy! Whilst he's colouring in, you can answer some questions, young man. Right, TNS Records, sir. When did we start TNS?
Well, originally like 2003 when it was a zine.
Yeah.
And then started doing...
So you started off as a zine?
Yeah, started as a zine.
Yeah.
And then started doing gigs in 2004. And then the label 2008.
Sweet. So
ages ago.
you and Bev started?
Yeah, well, when we first started as a zine, that was actually before I even knew Bev.
Right.
We met Bev on the first Revenge tour in like 2005.
Yeah.
And then it was me and Bev who turned it into a label.
Nice. For
Just
years.
sit colouring, mate.
Well, that's why I picked the one with the black background. She can't see when I go out.
He knows what he's doing. Knows what he's doing. Yeah, for years, the Crash Mat start, Bev was a woman. But obviously it's not, for those at home. Bev's not a lady. Don't make that mistake like we did. So, Revenge of the Psychotronic Man, did that start before the label on the zine, sorry?
Slightly after, yeah.
After, right. Because were you in a band, you guys were in a band before Revenge, with McGraw?
Yeah, we were a band called McGraw. So
Right.
the first zine we were in McGraw. I think the
Right.
second zine we give away with tapes like a McGraw CDR to the front of it, which was a stupid idea. But so the first gig we were putting on McGraw was supposed to play,
Right.
and then we didn't because we hadn't practiced for ages and whatever. And then Revenge ended up playing our first ever gig at the first TNS gig.
Right.
But we weren't supposed to play. On the night of the first gig, McGraw had to pull out, and then another band pulled out on the day. I can't even remember who that was. And then on the night, there was a pit. Someone got knocked over in the pit, busted his nose, and then someone out of one of the other bands fainted because of the sight of the blood, and then they couldn't play, so we played by default.
Nice. It's nice when it goes like that.
And now look at us. The name was only supposed to be we didn't have a name. We found the DVD in a pound shop and we went, I'll just call it that for tonight.
Yeah.
And then we had that.
So you
name for 14 years.
how long did you have to practice and come up with songs then for that gig?
We'd been like writing.
Oh,
and
right.
So we just weren't ready.
Right.
So we had like
Were we
seven.
ever?
We had like 7 songs, so about 8 minutes of material. And
Right. You probably busted through that or something like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a blur.
Yes. Because Revenge, you became sort of quite big, if you will, in the UK punk rock DIY. So you got on Radio 1 for a start.
Yeah, that was surreal.
Yeah, you got played on Radio 1 on the punk show with Mike Davis.
Yeah.
So you went to Maida Vale. Yeah. You know, had a wander around there. Did anyone touch you when you were down there?
No, but
Unfortunately not.
it was a very surreal day. That was like we got there, and
Sorry, I've got a little bit of Pepsi on you there.
and there was a man employed just to carry our gear down to the room. We were like, "Well, it's all right, mate. We can just do it." And he was like, "No, it's my job." Carrying our stuff. Fucking hell.
On his own. All at one go.
No, it was just into like this lift on a trolley, but yeah, it was a very surreal day. We did have a wander around. There was like people there practicing in the Philharmonic room and stuff.
Did you see anybody famous?
No. But it was very nice. We got looked after.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just bizarre.
Did you get to meet them because it's all sort of through headsets?
No, yeah. So we did interviews and stuff over over the phone. Yeah.
In a car park, just
Interestingly, on that subject, the day we did the interview for Maida Vale, we stopped at a services in Wolverhampton, and we did the interview in the car over the phone.
Right.
And Matt and Bighands went into the services. I just sat in the car, and they walked past Rolf Harris when there'd been an allegation, but nothing proven.
Right.
And Matt was a Rolf Harris fan prior to.
Did he get a picture with him?
No, well, they didn't, because he'd been accused, and he looked at him. Matt, the way Matt describes it, and he tells this story far better than me, is I looked at him and went, "Oh, he's done it." I mean,
he's very sheepish. I'm not on about Matt.
TNS, it stands for That's Not Skanking.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's right.
So were you called That's Not Skanking Records at all at any point?
No,
or was it always TNS?
It was always TNS. That's Not Skanking story. It's a bit of a mixed memory of what happened. In my memory, we were playing this gig when we were in McGraw, and there was this support band. They were a ska band, and they just completely fucked up this song. People were like dancing and stuff, and the singer went, "What are you doing? That's not skanking." But Adam, who was the singer in McGraw, thinks that we put on this gig at this social club we used to work at, and the running club came in to the gig, which was always funny when things like that happen. Then they were dancing, and he thinks someone said to one of the members of the running club, "That's not skanking." Possibly it happened at both. But yeah, that's what it was.
The legend now lives on.
I wanted it to become a phrase, like when people say that's not very good again, no, that's not skanking. But that was one of my shitter ideas.
You're starting to appeal now to the folks.
I realise it was shit now.
Well, because obviously I'm the media ambassador for Horn and Hoof Records. So is there any advice you could give to anybody who's thinking of starting a record label, punk rock DIY record label?
Don't fucking bother.
Like when you started it, were you thinking we're going to be the epitaph of the DIY punk rock scene?
We were touring with Revenge, and we've seen loads of cool bands and stuff. And we'd done like CDRs, like CDR compilations. We'd taped to front the fanzine. Another terrible idea. Bev and his mates had done like a CDR sort of compilation. And we were like, could we get something properly pressed on CD? So there was all these bands we'd seen on tour, and we were like, let's just do a compilation album, get it properly pressed, see what happens. We had a few ideas of things you could do after, so we just thought if that one goes well, we'll use that money to do the next one.
Right.
And that soon stopped because you didn't make enough money.
Well, that's it. Well, does it stop? That? How long did that go for? That?
There was a buzz initially. The first 2 or 3 things were okay, but as soon as it was hard to keep interest at the start.
And then once you got a bit of momentum,
I guess you got momentum, and you got further afield as well. So it's largely northwest at the start, and then as it sort of spread a bit more national, then international, like by sort of 16th release, wasn't it? And then you just started building. But it's always a battle, like to sell stuff. I think. Someone who ran another label, Boss Tunage, Aston from Boss Tunage, said to me at the start, he said, people will always think you're selling more than you are, and you'll always be battling for every sale. And it's true. It is just true. It's hard work, but you want to put out music you're into and you like.
That's it. You want to give people a chance and whatnot, stuff like that. It's. It is. From my sort of view, you guys are sort of like, if you will, one of the bigger boys in the UK punk rock DIY world, if you will, of releasing records TNS wise. Because I'm an MPF, what you've done with that has made it sort of even bigger, I suppose. But from your eyes, it might.
Well, we always say it's a weird thing to look at from the inside, because you don't feel like you're doing anything that different, really. You sort of just gradually changes and things change, and then you look at right at the start. I think the TNS 10-year birthday was a big one, wasn't it? Because it was literally 20-30 metres away from that first TNS gig, which was calamitous. It was like 17 people, and then you've got like sound control sold out. And it took 10 years, but you're like thinking, this gig is quite a lot different to that gig. But you'd not notice that change because you're so involved in it. And I guess it's the same with MPF, because MPF, is hard work to get people to know about it, because we don't have a big advertising budget. A lot of it's word of mouth, getting flyers out, getting people talking about it. It's hard work to get the sort of headline. I hate the term headliners because I love all the bands that play, but
you need those at a festival
to get to the numbers, to get to those sort of numbers.
Yeah, so you need a propaganda, say, to come over and play.
And you get someone like propaganda and you're like, that's insane, like, how is this happening at our little
is that
event?
the moment where you've thought, fucking hell, how have we done this?
Possibly it was one of the moments. There's a bit of fear. I think it's different for everyone involved. Like for Tree, and Danny, they're so into propaganda. It's enormous for them. I like them, but I mean, for me, Painted Black, Kid Dynamite, one of my favourite bands. When Painted Black were playing, I was like, this is ridiculous. Melt Banana last year, I've been going to watch them for years, and I always thought they'd go down well with our crowd, and I was just sort of standing watching them sound check and thinking, what is actually happening? This is ludicrous. Yeah,
because I'd say they're a bit more psychedelic-y, stonery rock.
I was playing them to someone last week, and I said, I've been into them for years, and I don't even know how to sort of describe what's going on.
Well, I think that's punk, really. It's like a little nail bomb. It started off as this, attitude and anger sort of thing, and it's always been weird. There's always weirder elements of the music. I think a very good example of this is the Manchester scene versus the Liverpool scene. I think there's a lot of weirdness in the Liverpool scene, with regards to the bands and the music that they make, whereas Manchester seems a bit more straight up. This is punk, and there's no characters or any sort of not no fun, but it's no frills sort of stuff. It's just raw and fast and angry. Whereas Liverpool's got a bit of some of them have got strange characters, and a bit of fun about them and whatnot like that. So you guys managed to sort of encapsulate all that in MPF, and I think I remember the very first one, Two Sick Monkeys playing. It was Juicy Bridge and Long R.I.P. Juicy Bridge. So let's get there. How did it begin? Whose idea was it initially, or was it a sort of just all of you saying over time we need to do something a bit bigger?
Yeah, I think there was a certain amount of over time. From a TNS point of view, we did the TNS 10-year birthday party, and we'd always done a birthday party every year, and we'd been sort of getting 200, 250, jumped to 450, and then we were like, well, what do we do next year? Because we knew a lot of people had travelled for that one. We knew there was a lot of hype because of the 10-year thing, and we were like, do we go back down to the sort of 250s?
Was that the one with the video and the
so you're sort of thinking, do you go back down to the sort of 250 size gig, or do you do something else? And I guess for me and Bev, we went to one of Kieran's gigs, and similar, sort of 300-400 people there, and you're thinking there's not as much crossover as there could be here. So if you did something together, then maybe you could do something a bit bigger. I guess we had similar conversations with the AU lot, and their Punks in the Jungle gig. I guess there was more crossover with TNS. But still, they were doing events where a lot of people were coming
that weren't in your sort of
and you
circle.
Thought, if you get all these people in one place, you've got 1,000 people.
Well, it's a big city as well, man. It's a big student area, so there's a lot of people about who, if you can get the word out to them, will come out for it as well. So. The first one, 2015. So we had Sound Control, Juicy Bridge, Thirsty Scholar, Retro Bar, and Joshua Brooks. Is that right?
Probably, yeah. I'd imagine so.
Look at me with me knowledge. So this year, the venues this year, we've got the Union, Gorilla, the Bread Shed, Rebellion, Zombie Shack, Yes, and Sandbar. And Sandbar's where the comedy, poetry, and podcasts will be happening. I mean, the difference in venue there is obviously, from where you started to where you are now. I mean, you've got Gorilla going on, and I saw fucked up at Gorilla. But and the Bread Shed, Rebellion as well. You've got some pretty big. Have you ever tried to get the Academy? Speak to the Academy guys, or is it just?
I mean, it's obviously. It'd be a lie to say it's not been considered. I guess the conversation with that is it changes the vibe quite a lot, doesn't it? But it could work, and there's lots of positives to it. But I quite like the independent venue, sort of people moving around,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that feel to it. And like,
Yeah.
if you're not from Manchester, you're sort of seeing like the city.
Different
you know,
parts of it,
it's
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But you know, there would be positives to using the academy stuff as well, I think. But at the
It's
moment,
a fart for you there. It's there for you, boys. Take it back to the collective, see what they think.
I mean, the variation's good the way it is, though, isn't it? It's like there's loads of different size venues and different feels on each venue. I think the academy would be very much
Well, you couldn't use the main
like any
academy.
academy venue.
Still got what then? 3, 2, and club academy then all in one.
There
venue.
is, you could actually do like for like in the academy, in terms of venue sizes and stuff, and it'd all be in the same space, but it'd be a very different festival, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's one of the bigger DIY punk festivals going. Obviously, you've got like Rebellion, which is the proper boys,
Just
isn't it?
enormous, isn't it?
It's just massive, like it's like outdoor stages now, and it's like a sprawling nightmare sometimes, really, of dinosaurs and all types. So this year, the bands, the sort of main headlining bands, we've got Off With Their Head, One Unit, Big D and the Kids Table, No Fun At All, Lightyear, and Death by Stereo. So there's a headlining wise, there's a bit of a mix there.
Yeah,
And
there's
then-
still more to come as well.
Yeah. More to be announced and whatnot. I see Clayface are playing. How much did Archibald Kenneth Lafayette Moss actually pay you to allow you to let Clayface play?
Well,
Who picked Clayface to play?
Speak to Kieran Kelly about that one, I think.
I'm only joking, of course, Archibald.
I saw that was the first episode that I watched when you ripped Archie to pieces.
He's a good lad. I've known him for a very long time, Archibald Kenneth Lafayette.
He's a nice boy.
He's a nice boy. He just needs to get a decent haircut, and he'll be all right.
Is that all he needs?
That's all he needs. That's all he needs. Right. So we've sort of touched on the best things about organising gigs, seeing bands that you thought you wouldn't be able to see, and bringing them to new people. What are some of the worst things about organising a big festival like this?
Where do I start? I mean, I'd go back to what Aston said to us from Bass Studios about starting a label. Like, you do get people who think you've got it easy, you think that it's going to sell out whatever and stuff, and it isn't like that. You are working for every ticket sale. There's several MPFs that haven't sold out. It hasn't sold out every year. You get into conversations and people say, "Oh, it's like 3,000 people there, isn't there?" And you go, "No, there's nowhere near that many people." And obviously there's tricky discussions with like booking agents who are asking for ludicrous money.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, they get this at sponsored events." Well, we're not a sponsored event. We're never going to be.
And at that point, do you think,
what the fuck am I doing?
well, not what the fuck am I doing, but we're trying to put on a DIY punk festival and we're dealing with a fucking agent. This isn't DIY anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a bit of a funny thing, isn't it, working with booking agents? I mean, there are some that get it and do it nicely, and there's some that you think, this isn't my job, probably isn't the band's job, it is your job.
Yeah.
We're going to you, you're getting a fee for being the middle person in this.
Especially when you know someone in the band as well, and you could probably just talk to them, but you
and
have
also
to go
what
through.
they got paid at a different event. And
that sort of stuff.
I do find, personally, this is from me, because I don't want to speak for the whole collective, because I know that the others have slightly different views on some of this stuff, but for me, like, I find it hard having to have those conversations. I hate it when a booking agent, and I'm sure you...
I can't, I don't deal with them.
Yeah,
I just don't deal with them.
They go, make me an offer. They go, right, well, tell me what they need, and I know what they got last week. And then I've literally had a booking agent say to me, well, you shouldn't be discussing with other people what they're paying for the bands. I go, what? The only reason you have got a problem with that is because if we have that discussion with potentially one of my good friends, we know that you're trying to rip one or the other off.
It's
tricky, but not all of. And I get why, like, foreign bands, like, so Melt Banana's booking agent was absolutely lovely. Very honest about everything. Melt Banana, tricky for them to book a tour at their level in a different country, and you know, I get why that needs to happen, and it was a pleasure to work with that person, really.
Well, I mean, there's certain sections where all right, I want to get this band here, I'm going to have to deal with their agent, but I think that there's other times where you just think, no.
Yeah, well, TNS, like when we were putting on TNS gigs, was very much the same, like as you, like we'd like, well, occasionally we'd say to a band, you can play, but we're not booking it.
Why did you guys stop putting on gigs? Because
it was just too much.
We played one for you. We played a couple for you, didn't we? We played the beach party one. Yeah. That was good. I enjoyed that one. Yeah. And then it just became too much as well as the label and the band as well. Like
everything really. I think. Well, you know,
every weekend. Wasn't it?
Yeah, Revenge was really, really busy. Yeah. Full-time jobs, you know.
Well, that's it.
Like there was times when, like you'd pick me up from work in the van on the Friday at like 4 o'clock, get in the van, drive to play somewhere, play Saturday, sometimes play Sunday as well. Yeah. Get home 2, 3 in the morning, get up, go to work on Monday, do the same thing the weekend after, and.
You just don't feel like you've done anything.
And then really. MPF in the equation, like some things had to go. That's why the fanzine went originally, and you know, that's why the gigs went. But I think when the gigs went, you were sort of looking around at what was happening in the area, and you thought, there's so many people putting on good gigs, and it's kind of nice to go to a gig and have nothing to do with it, and just go as a punter, watch some dead good bands, just have a nice time, and not be anything to do with it. So I think something had to go, and that made sense at the time.
Well, fair enough. I mean, like you say, there is a lot of people, or not a lot of people, there's a lot of decent gigs in the area to go to, all over the northwest, to be fair. There's a lot well, maybe not Blackburn in that way, but I just find it impossible to there's anyone up there that sort of way, to be fair. But if you're watching, get in touch. You might be. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point. I'm sorry. Right. Sorry. Right. I've got to play a song now. There's we've got a segment of the show called Hardest Question Ever. I'm not going to ask you about Umbongo because I've got a new segment coming up later on. But this is the hardest question ever. So to get you prepared for this, we've got a little song. So. Hardest question ever. Right.
I was starting to think that was one of them ones that got an hour loop on it or something. What you can see how long it was before someone spoke.
Really, what should have happened, it should have stopped, and then one of us go to talk and then kick in again. So if the makers of that, you know, my idea.
We'll have to get a loop of that, Rick. Not that one down. Right, hardest question ever. There's 2 hardest questions ever for you now. What is the best Revenge of the Psychotronic Man song?
Well, I never learned the title, so
this will be good.
The 4th one from the set. I don't know. I'm making that up. I don't know the name.
Planet Earth 2.
Planet Earth 2. Because you wrote them.
Not all of them.
Not
Me and
all
Matt
of them.
wrote them between us.
Yeah, between you
And
two.
then
There was
Bighands.
obviously Matt in them, yeah.
The Jägermeister song.
Shut up.
And, right, what is the best band to have played MPF?
Oh, that's a good question. Not Banana.
Mount Banana?
Close second. Clowns, maybe.
Right.
I don't think I could give a definite answer, but Mighty Midgets were pretty awesome. We
Yeah,
wanted to
good.
get them over here for a long time, and that was pretty nice watching them.
Yeah. Sound? Fair enough. It's not a quiz. It's not a quiz. Can we just all get that? Right? For the fucking 18th time. It's not a quiz. Right. It's just a quiz. It's a chat show. That's what it is. Right. This is my new section of the show. Because we're in a cost of living crisis. Right? Do you own a fleece? And if you don't own a fleece, what's the best winter clothing you own?
I tend to just wear a sleeping bag in the house.
A sleeping bag?
To be honest.
One of them big ones from B&M. It's like a big duvet slash
Just a
sleeping
normal
bag.
one.
Just a normal
Unzipped.
sleeping bag.
Unzipped.
Yeah. Wander around with it like a cape.
Like, yeah.
I'm not very good at practical clothing, really.
Yeah?
We went on this charity walk at the weekend around Snowdonia, and we were very ill-equipped. So people will be shocked to hear that me and Bighands aren't experienced hill walkers.
I mean, you shout with
Yeah.
I was
you look
leading
it.
the way at one point. Honestly, there were about 20 people. They just left me leading the way.
You were in charge.
I
It's
do
like-
not know where I'm going.
I'm the sort,
and your hands were that big, they were covering the map. So you couldn't see where you're going on the map.
I'm the sort of person who wears a coat, a jacket that looks like it's waterproof for
Yeah.
fashion reasons, but it has no waterproof qualities. So, I mean, yeah. Just put
If
the
you-
heating on and not release as many TNS in.
Yeah.
Just a joke.
If you were in the circus, what job would you want?
Human cannonball.
Human cannonball. What, the guy who receives it?
Getting fired out
Get
of it.
fired out
Yeah,
of
being
him.
mint that.
Yeah, that would be
You're
good.
a clown, you don't have a
I'd
choice.
have to be the one that catches them, I guess. Going down
The
there.
guy who brings the net out.
massive custard pies that are mint.
Mint custard pies.
Right. Let's settle this debate finally now forever. Which is the worst form of music, rockabilly or ska?
Well, that's a fucking hard question, isn't it?
They're both pretty bad.
Exactly. But you can only pick one.
No, there's some good bits of like.
Just, tell me a good bit about rockabilly, please. To me, honestly, some people say this about ska, but rockabilly, every song sounds the fucking same. Bum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum, and it's either about a car or well, no, they're all about cars.
I'd have to go rockabilly because there's some ska songs that I do.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to go ska though, because
Yeah.
I think rockabilly, as you say, it's like it's got a certain neutrality to it. Whereas ska, there's some very good stuff, but there's some stuff that's so wrong that it ruins all the good stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Crash Mats CDs are available in the foyer, ladies and gentlemen. Right, Bighands, Andy, thank you very much for coming. Oh, hang on, no, I say that. Last one. DIY punk rock community. MPF, I don't know where to really put you in the big DIY punk rock shop with Garden Centre, because if you're doing a podcast, you can be on the radio. But if you're putting on a gig, I suppose you'd be working in the shop. So what aisle of the shop would Revenge of the Psychotronic Man be? So I tell people that the crash mats are in the children's wallpaper section. Incisions are in a cupboard that you have to get a member of staff over to get them out. Nosebleed are garden furniture. You like to look at them, but you won't want to sit on that all year. So where are Revenge of the Psychotronic Man? What
Probably
aisle?
some sort of like barbed wire fencing or something.
Does the cafe serve alcohol?
It does in this
There
shop.
you go.
Excellent, I like that one. This shop's fucking growing. It has its Shackelford are in the chemists. Yeah. Animal byproducts of fertiliser, and a lot of people want to be the bins. We'll draw a map one day and we'll let you know where everybody
Next
is.
Crash Mats album cover.
Yeah, when that gets done. All right. Right, Big Hands, Andy, thank you very much for coming in today to the shed. If you want to email in the show, everybody, the email address is hello.and.hoof.at.hotmail.com email isn't anything. We've not had any, so why not keep up that straight?
I emailed you.
You did. You sent me a load of pictures of spam.
Yeah.
That was it. Well done.
I've
Well done,
completed
Big
the
Hands.
book, by the way.
Oh, fucking hell, look at that. He's the first one to complete a full page, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. That's beautiful.
It's his birthday tomorrow as well.
Yeah. Big Hands, happy birthday for tomorrow, love.
40 years old.
Hey!
Quite good.
Well done. Yeah, there you go. We've not had any Patreons either. Why not sign up to our Patreon? Nobody else has. Be the first. On a Hoof Records. I don't know his email address and he's not here to prompt me, so just Google it.
You have been watching the Horn and Hoof Records video podcast chat show, Hello and Hoof, with your host, Danny Barrett. Directed and edited by Scottrick Bradley, CEO and Vice President of Horn and Hoof Records, and Rick Fallows, aka Neidhart. Why not email in the show hello.and.hoof.at.hotmail.com. Tell your friends about the show. Share the show with other people. Tune in next time for another thrilling adventure on the Horn and Hoof Records video podcast chat show. Hello and Hoof.
This episode is brought to you by SD Signs Whitby. If you want signs, use SD Signs Whitby.